my name is Mimi Turner. Welcome. I'm the head of EMEA for the B2B Institute at LinkedIn, and I'm incredibly excited to be here with my colleague Jan Schwartz, the global founder of the B2B Institute, and a great friend and strategic ideas and thought partner, Jamie Cleghorn from Bain & Company. And we're going to tell you a little bit about some of the work that we've been doing to really try to advance our understanding of B2B marketing and advertising. And we've come up with something which we think is going to be really actionable and interesting. We've actually been working on this for 10 months, so we've bled blood, sweat and tears has gone into this. But I thought maybe I'd take us back to where it started. So I'm going to come to you, Jan. Jan, you're the founder of the B2B Institute at LinkedIn. I think it's fair to say, and you founded it well before I joined, so I can actually say this, I think it's fair to say you actually put B2B on the map in a way that hadn't been before. Tell me just a little bit, tell us about what this piece of work helps us to do and why you're excited about it.
Yeah, first of all, I didn't fully put B2B on the map. I think I wouldn't claim credit for that. However, I'm happy to claim credit for the fact that we really focused on developing specific mental models of how B2B should work, especially macro mental models rather than just sort of tactical suggestions. So this came about because B2B is fundamentally different than B2C. Both are about humans. Of course, all marketing is marketing to humans. But B2B is really about groups of people making decisions together. And the consequences of that are very, very far-reaching and very important for marketers and sellers to understand if they want to be more successful.
So how did you come to find Jamie as our research partner?
Well, the idea was really like, you know, how there's these super groups in the 1980s where they tried to find all the greatest musicians, and they like Bob Dylan and Tom Petty and Roy Orbison and Jamie Cleghorn walk into a bar. No, but
exactly right.
Jamie was very involved in some wonderful research that Bain was doing a while back. Jamie, do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I would love to. May rest in peace. Eric Almquist was the one who came up with this. He was a mentor to me and to Andy Pierce, who collaborated with us on this recent work.
Andy, we wish you could have.
Andy, we wish you were here. It was called The Elements of Value, and it basically started with this thesis that a value proposition is not this amorphous, inscrutable thing. You actually can bring science and rigor to it, and the elements were effectively the periodic table of how do you build a value proposition. And so Andy did some work he led on that around a B2C version of that, and then Eric, Laurie, and I did a piece on B2B. And the insight on B2B was actually on part of the elements of value, an individual is acting as an agent of their company, right? Mm-hmm. They're acting as a fiduciary or on behalf of. And then a part of the elements of value, they're acting for themselves as an individual. But as far as we know, it was certainly some of the deepest, but some of the most repeatable mental model type work around why do B2B customers buy. Mm-hmm. And so that was sort of the genesis of that. And then Jan came to me. I still remember sitting in the lobby of our office building, drinking an espresso at late afternoon and talking about what we could do together, and really thinking about a buying coalition and sort of thinking beyond the individual and how what's underneath that, and we did the work.
So Jan, you started talking a bit about group decision making. Mm-hmm. Why is a group of people making a decision together professionally different from individuals making decisions? Because our whole ad industry is essentially based on the idea of an individual decision maker. What was it that made you actually, the point of origin of this work, think about groups being different?
Yeah, we're essentially looking through the telescope at the wrong end if we're trying to understand B2B buying, right? Because we have all these set existing mental models that come from B2C that are about targeting individuals. They're about understanding the needs and desires of individuals. I think that's really sort of skewing our perspective on how group decisioning works. Group decisioning is about avoiding things as much as it is about doing things. And I think once you start to think about it, the more and more you realize that we've all been in situations like that. And a polite anecdote is, you're all sitting around the dinner table, or you're sitting around the table at work saying, where should we go for dinner? And someone doesn't like meat, someone only wants to eat pizza, someone wants burgers, someone wants Japanese, and you end up going to...
What happened to my seafood choice?
Yeah, or seafood. You end up going to the most boring restaurant possible because it's a compromise solution that makes everybody happy, but no one is thrilled, right?
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that idea of compromise.
So it's actually absolutely understandable why professionals in a business setting want to accommodate and agree with each other. Because anyone's ever run a business or had a leadership role, that's one of the hardest things to do. You need to get people to move in the same direction together rather than oppose each other.
So we're compromising in favor of alignment.
Going to the restaurant nobody wants to go to is in the half of cases where it's the best case scenario, because the other half of cases, no decisions made at all.
That's right.
So even in the half of decisions where a decision gets made, there is sort of that watering down, that satisficing, I think is the term in group psychology.
Yeah. So Jamie, just give us some highlights of the research that we did together and help people to understand what's useful for them and the approach that we took.
So a couple things. One is we identified two very discrete populations within a buying coalition or a buying group, which depending on the research you read is 12 or 15 or 23 people, although it does seem like every time I read a new number, the number gets bigger, right? There are more and more people involved in these B2B decisions. And about half of the decision making goes to target buyers, people you normally market to, and you're talking about features and functionality and performance and sort of all the ways your offering can maximize things. But the other half are hidden buyers.
Yes, let's talk about this idea about hidden buyers, because we don't think about them, but we actually were looking at legal, finance, procurement, the process buyers. Talk about the role that process buyers have in a purchase, because it's very interesting that marketers we don't target to process buyers, but
we don't at all, and we should, because they have 49% of the decision-making influence in a B2B decision. Just as a straw poll, we were at our presentation this morning and here at Cannes and asked the audience, how many of you are target buyers for media and advertising and those types of things? And virtually everyone raised their hand. And then in a group of 300 people, we said, how many of you are hidden buyers? And there were 3 hands. And that's not scientific, but it's probably indicative of the percent of marketing mindshare, advertising mindshare that goes towards those hidden buyers and talking to them.
Yeah, and it speaks to our obsession with measurement. Of course, measurement is absolutely necessary, because if you want to get budgets from finance to run marketing campaigns, to hire salespeople, you need to prove that it works. But we've fallen into this trap where what you can measure gets managed, and what's easier to measure is what gets managed more, and what's harder to measure doesn't get managed at all. So that's why you end up with the vast majority of all advertising being targeted to target buyers. That's why we call them target buyers, because you can't measure the hidden buyers. They never click on a lead gen form. They don't want to actively engage, but they hold 50% of the decision-making powers. They are hidden from us.
Yeah. So I'm just going to wrap up with a couple of just very quick questions. I just want to ask you, Jan, because the B2B Institute is really founded on understanding behavioral, the way that human beings really behave, as opposed to the way that we assume they behave. Just give us your point of view on how the value that's unlocked when you actually understand that.
Yeah, so there is an iceberg. If you imagine an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg is our rational, functional, logical needs as professionals. And then below the surface, there is a huge part of the iceberg that is about our emotional and social needs. What is my boss going to think about this? Will the team be okay with this? What about those people in finance? How are they going to respond? Right? All of that always plays in the back of our minds. If this goes wrong, will I lose my job? These are all very legitimate considerations, but they're not necessarily rational, functional. You can't easily, neatly fit that into a spreadsheet.
Right.
No,
We've
can't.
got like about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go. Everyone's going to say, and we can. What our favourite takeaway from our research was. I'm going to go Jan, then Jamie, and then I'll do the last one. What was the thing that you were like excited by most?
It's very exciting that brand is actually more important for hidden buyers. So you need to invest in brand if you want to reach hidden buyers.
Mm-hmm. And if we're going to make a bumper sticker of our research,
Yes.
I think it was buying groups are looking for permission to agree, and brand gives them permission to agree.
Yeah. I think my favourite takeaway, like the thing that had the most profound impact on me, is the extent to which everybody in the buyer group is willing to compromise on things that we think are the reasons that we buy things. So they were willing to compromise on price. They were willing to compromise on product quality in order to get to alignment, in order to get people to agree. And so I think for me, the great takeaway is that the real job, the one job of B2B marketers is to get the buying group to agree. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Bain, for all your involvement, and to
Pleasure.
Andy Pierce and to Jared for all their support. And also thank you to NewtonX, who are our data partner. And thank you to Jan, I think, for starting this whole conversation. There's going to be a lot more to come.